FamBam, how are you? I hope you're doing fantastic. I know, I already have concealer on my lid. I already started recording this and I was just talking nonsense, so I decided to just restart it, okay? So I'm going to be recreating the look I had in my previous video, which is the Foxy eye look or whatever we want to call it. I know you babes have been commenting and saying that you're waiting for a video on it. I did film it when I was doing that, but when I proceeded to film my second video after filming that look, I accidentally deleted all the footage. I was very disappointed, but you know what? Apples and oranges. Why am I saying that? Like, you win some, you lose some. And so I'm going to sit down today. I'm already sitting down. I'm going to try and recreate it. I'm hoping it turns out as good or even better than the previous one. I'm really hoping so. So let's just jump into it. If you're yet to join the FamBam, please subscribe down below, join the FamBam, and also turn notifications so that way you don't miss out any single video from me, okay? And I hope you're doing fantastic today. I hope you're doing good, you know? So basically, there's not going to be any shadow on the lid whatsoever. The main look is going to be focused on the wing and also the top lash line. And the lash we're going to choose for this particular look is one of those lashes that you can still see through it, so that way you can still see the shadow that you do have on the lash line. So let's just jump into it. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and I did my brows, so I'm gonna go ahead and prep my lid, which I'm already doing. I applied concealer. I haven't blended it out yet. The concealer I'm using is the MAC Studio Fix 24-hour smooth wear concealer in the shade NW42. I really wanted something that's just going to blend into my skin tone, and then by the time I set it with translucent powder, my skin is just gonna look even on my eyelid, and then it won't be too two-dimensional once I'm done applying my foundation and concealer, you know, like my whole face, you know. So yeah, so I'm just applying this with a beauty sponge. This is actually not damp, it's actually a dry beauty sponge, and I know it's dirty or whatever, but whatever, it is what it is. And I like to blend out concealer on my lid with a dry beauty sponge, because I just like that it almost kind of straight away mattifies the concealer on my lid. And you look at that, it almost kind of gives a more powdered effect. So I'm just going to build up the coverage here a little bit because I want it to be very like uniformed. Okay, just a bit, so I can see a gap there as well. I'm gonna bring it across my bridge, and I'm bringing it across my bridge because by the time I'm done, like, I want to still deposit a bit of color here to start contouring, like defining my nose bridge, my nose. So I'm gonna bring the concealer out a little bit as well. I mean, it is already out, but I just want to build up the coverage on the outer edge because that's the area where most of our shadow work is going to be. All right, so there we go. So now I'm gonna pick up a translucent powder. This is a Laura Mercier translucent honey, and I'm using a translucent powder because when I apply this, the concealer color is still going to show out. So I'm gonna set it, and I'm setting it because, once again, like, the look is mainly focused on the outer, you know, edge and also on the lash line. So basically, this is our skin prep. Like, for example, if you're applying foundation or whatnot on your face, so this is my foundation and concealer, whatever, on my lid, you know? Yeah. And I'm just lightly setting it, not like with too much translucent powder, just lightly setting it. So here we go. Now we have a set lid. We're good to go. Okay, we're good to go. So now we're gonna start the work. All right, so I'm mainly gonna be using 2 products for this particular look, 2 or 3, and it's very simple, but the actual precision is what took a little bit of time when I was filming it previously. So let's just get into it. So I'm gonna be using this Flower Beauty, the name is rubbed off, Flower Beauty Forever eyeliner. Yeah, this one right here. So it's a brown liner. So I'm basically going to use this to draw a wing, and I'm going to do both eyes as I go because, like, it has to be as even as possible. And when I do one eye and do the other one off camera, it just, oh my gosh, you know, I'm going to try and do both eye as I go. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a wing with this brown liner. I'm just going to place it. I want to bring the wing up like so towards the end, towards the tail of my brow. Instead of bringing it out like this, I'm going to bring it a little bit up, kind of like a 45-degree up instead of 90 degrees. So I'm just stamping and drawing. And I'm gonna start feathering it upward. Okay, I'm just gonna basically just kind of draw a wing a little. That's too thick, but that's okay. So I'm gonna bring this to my lash line as well. I'm sorry, my dog is in the background if you're hearing those crinkly sound. He's basically annihilating a bowl right now. Anyway, So this is basically acting as the base of the brown shadow I'm gonna use, you know, to kind of smoke it out a little. And I don't have to like connect the wing. I'm just, again, this is just the base. And this liner is not wet. It's not a wet liner, but it's wet enough to act as a base and as an attacher to the brown shadow. So I'm just gonna feather it up a bit, just like so. Okay, I'm just gonna do this side and try and mirror it, because it has to be, I mean, it doesn't really have to be the same size, the same height, to be honest, or the same, because your boobs aren't identical, you know what I mean? So why must everything be identical in your face, you know? When it comes to my type of hooded eyes, okay, as you can, like when I look up, you can see that my eyes are a little folded, you know, especially these lines right here, especially in the morning. Like when I look up, I can hardly see this area, but as the hours go by and I'm like becoming more and more awake, it starts to open up a little more. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that with my type of eyelid, when I'm doing something like this, or even when I'm doing a natural, like a wing or whatnot, I just always make sure I focus the majority of it and almost like the halfway and the bottom half of my lid right here, so that way like it can still show out. And I also make sure I focus on using lashes that are still see-through, not lashes that are like very intense and like the hairs are closed. I prefer lashes that are a little bit more open, mainly when I want my eyeliner and my, you know, top lash line to be seen, you know? Yeah, so here we go. So I'm just coming back and applying it again one time, just to, because, you know, it dries down a little bit. So I'm just applying it a little bit one more time. Let's remember to close our eyeliner because it will dry out. So now I'm going to grab a smudger brush, and this is by Avoni. I think there is a smudger brush by Morphe. Should I just use that one? I have a smudger brush by Morphe, but this one is a bit too small for me right now, and I want something a bit more dense, which is why I'm going to be using this one. And it's a little bit dusty, so it's gonna wipe it out. So that's why I'm going to be using this one. It's a bit more dense than this, and I like the density of it. There is another brush option, which is a little bit more fluffy. It's a little bit softer, but it's more dense than this one. So this is the Morphe M321 brush. So this is another option as well. So basically just you can use it to, you know, feather it out a little more, like just to kind of blend the edge so that way it doesn't appear too sharp, and then use it to apply the brown shadow. But I'm gonna go ahead, actually, should I use something that you can easily access they can easily access? I'll use this one. I didn't use it for the other look, but I'll use this one just for you. Okay, this is a Morphe M321 brush once again. Okay, so I'm just gonna use it to kind of feather out the edge of this liner, you know. Even though the liner is kind of dry down, you still have a little bit of a wiggle room. As you can see, it's still blending a bit. And I'm going to deposit a little extra liner there as well, because I need a little bit more up here. Just feathering this up. So it's going to help me determine where else I need to put it. So I will start creating that smoky effect, and we're going to introduce black later on as well. So I'm just going back into the liner and I'm just going to keep applying, apply, blend until I have the thickness, I mean the depth that I want in terms of color intensity. Words. All right, I think I'm good with that. We're gonna use a liner brush later on to kind of define the edge here, but right now we're just gonna stop there. So now I'm going into the Juvia's Place Nubian 2 palette, this one. And I'm going to pick up the brown shade in here. This one, the shade Kenya. So I'm going to use the same M321 brush and just pick up the shade with the tip of the brush. I have to be very precise, very careful. I'm almost neglecting this eye now, but it's okay. As long as I've got my base and I know that the liner is kind of even, I'm good with that. So I'm just picking up that brown shade and I'm just going to use it to set the liner to have an extra intensity. You can see like the brown shade shade is a little bit lighter than the actual liner itself, but it's okay because this is the actual color that I want, and we're still gonna introduce black in a little bit. So I'm just depositing it on top of the liner, going very close to my lash line, and I'm feathering it up because we're gonna kind of smoke it upward a little bit. I'm just tapping, I'm not blending. I tap off the excess and kind of use my color switch in between and just, you know, rub it off. So now that's clean, I'm gonna go back in and kind of blend the edge there. You can see it's a little bit what's the word, dusty up here, so I'm just gonna blend the edge so it can look more smoother. And look at this, we're getting there. Yes. Okay, so I need my brow brush, which is more of a wing liner brush. So this is the Inglots 31T brush. Any liner brush will do, to be honest with you. So I'm going to pick up my a black pencil, a black liner. This is by Marc Jacobs. This is in the shade Blacqueur. This is an eyeliner gel eye crayon. Actually, should I just use a black shadow that can be easily accessed in case you don't have this? It's just a black gel liner, honestly. I have another gel liner by Inglot, but it's already dried out, so any black gel eyeliner will do. So I am just going to scrape the top of this with the angle liner brush, and I like the wetness and the thickness of this gel liner, so I'm going to apply this on the base of my lash line where the lash is going to sit, and we're going to start using this to create more depth on the base because, you know, it's all about that base, no treble. So now I'm just gonna bring it up as well, like feather it up. It's a little tacky, that's okay, you know, so that way it's feathered into the brown. So now I'm gonna use it to draw a wing just underneath that brown liner wing that we already did, just up here. Just deepen that outline, tapping it. I'm gonna feather it upward. Oh, I'm just gonna blend it out. You see how that line looks? This is how I would like my eye to look. Like, look at how smooth that looks. Like no foldiness or whatever. But then when I release it, like, can you let me be great? You know? I kind of feel like this look favors people like myself who have this kind of eye shape, you know, this type of hooded or monolid, whatever we want to call it. Because when we laugh and whatnot, you can, like, it just, you know, which is why it's also important to kind of bring the line out a little bit more, so that way when you do smile and when you do laugh, it doesn't entirely disappear. Like, you know, you can still see it, it's still poking out. Yeah, so the last look, I actually introduced a little bit of orange, but I don't think I want to do that today. Let me pick up orange and just see if I want to do it. So just a little bit, tap it off, just a dust of it. And I tapped it here. Like, I could hardly see it from afar, but when I like pick up a mirror, I could see it. Like, I can see it now. So the orange is actually from the same palette as well, the shade Morocco. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye and I will be right back. All right, so I am back. I am gonna go ahead and just apply a mascara. I feel like this is a bit different too. Anyway, so I'm gonna pick my lashes and I'm just reusing an old lash, but the lash I'm using is in the style Paris. It's by Dasa Beauty. That's actually my brand, but you don't have to use, obviously you don't have to use Dasa Beauty at all. I'm just saying that that's what I use, but I'm going to show you what the lash looks like. So it's a more kind of crisscross placements kind of lash hair, and that way, like when I do apply it, I can still see the smokiness, if that makes any sense. What I generally like to do is I like to place my lash glue on my lash line, but I'm not going to do that today because the lash glue that I like to use with that is actually finished. I'm going back to my regular schmegler on the lash band, on the tip of the lash band. So I'm just gonna apply it. I'm using my finger. I can't find my tweezers. So I am just gonna place this on my lash line, as long as we've got the inside. I'm gonna bring it out. Okay, all right, cool. I'm just gonna let the top, the edge of the lash and my lash line bond a little. I'm just gonna leave that be for a bit. Look at that, we can still see our Foxy, our smoky eye, you know, our lash line. We can still see it though. And our eyes is already forming, or my eyes. I don't know what your eye is doing. My eye, excuse me, you're making a lot of noise with your collar. Eh? Typical man, just want to come and disturb anyhow. Anyway, as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted, our eye look is already forming. The lash is already curled up, which is great. So now that I'm shouting because this one is just making noise in the background. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and bond my lash to the actual Foxy while being gentle with it. And I'm going to go to the base of the lash, use my finger and just use it to press the lash against my lash line, like so, from the root, so that way it bonds, but it will bond upward. Ooh, look at that. And then we're gonna bring this out. Does it look good? Does it look like the way my eyes look in the other video? Me think so. I'm done. I'm gonna do this eye and I'll be back. All right, so I thought I'd come back and do my lower lash line before I go ahead and finish the rest of my face. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Let me just see, what did I have in my lower lash line? It's probably just a brown shade, you know, that's what I always go for. Especially with this kind of look, it's probably just a brown shade. But I'm just gonna go back to the photo. Yep, I knew it. It's just a brown shade. That's what I went for. Ooh, that looks better, huh? I did more of a wing today. Gosh, that looks so much, this looks so much better, doesn't it? Still looks good. I'm not gonna rub it off. I'm gonna keep it there. Okay, so for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna pick up the brown shade, very nice and simple, and just smudge it into the lower lash line. So the brown shade we used on the lid earlier. I think I might line my waterline with a black liner. I'm just gonna use a regular schmegular wing liner to do this and just feather it downward. And just smudge this, use it to blend out that black that I feathered down, and just smudge this in my lower lash line. Something simple. All right, so now for the inner corner, I'm going to grab, because I want to bring the liner out, and I did that for the other look, didn't I? Yes, I did. So I'm just grabbing the black liner, the wing liner or whatever, just kind of bring the wing out, you know, draw a V, just connect from the beginning of the lash and just bring it out and kind of draw an inward V and connect it to the bottom of your bottom lash line. Yes. All right, so for my lips, I'm using the Fenty Beauty Match Sticks in the shade Espresso. And this is what I'm going to use as a liner. The lipstick I'm going to be using on top of this is by MAC. And it's the Nikkia Joy Matte Lipstick. All right, so here we go. We are done. Okay, I went ahead and I finished the rest of my face. Actually, I also kind of topped up my brow a little as well. So yeah, I do like the way it turned out. I feel like it's a little different from the other one that I did, and mainly when it comes to this area, but it still turned out okay. Let's just focus on this side, not the side that kept watering. All right. But yeah, I like it. I hope this video helped you out in terms of tips and tricks when it comes to this type of look, you know. Let me know in the comments section down below if you did, and also if you're gonna recreate it or if you've already done it. Okay, thanks for watching FamBam. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, whatever it is to love yourself, and by God's grace I pray I see you in my very next video. Bye.